Welcome back, guys, to the second video in this basic tutorials of 3ds Max. Last time we looked at all the boxes, all the viewports, and some other options in 3ds Max. Today we're gonna go into the modifier list over here to add some modifiers to change your object into an editable poly. We're gonna look at some of the commands and options down here, and just have fun with some 3D shapes. So let's just start with the box again. We learned how to make this last time. I'm zoomed in way too much on my perspective. And we have a box, right? Let me just scale it down. And up, up, okay, cool. I don't know why I did that. Just did it. Okay. Some of you may be thinking, there's grids on each viewport, right? You can see clearly, grids. Why is there no grid here? Well, there is a grid in the perspective view. This cube is just a little bit too big. See, there it is. If at any point you want to get rid of the grid, just press G on your keypad. Yeah, it doesn't get rid of all of them, but it gets rid of perspective. So, hey, G, yeah, cool. Usually it's quite useless in the perspective view, so that's why I'm gonna get rid of it. Just the perspective view there, right? Okay. Orthographic view, I'm not gonna go into that much. I didn't go into last video because I thought it was useless, but I'll do it anyway. I don't like to use it that much. If there's any 3D modelers who are watching this video, put in the comments why you may use orthographic use. I honestly don't use it. I like perspective. That's just my choice. Now, on to the modifier list. Here we see we have a box, right? We can add segments, and what that basically means is pretty plain box right now, right? Can't do much with it. We just make that 2, make that 2, make that 2. We have one cross section, right? We got one vertex, and we got, basic stuff. You're just adding more segments to your 3D model. What that does, it allows you to edit your 3D model more precisely later on when you want to do it. If you just have a basic box, there's only 4 vertices on each corner, right? This adds 5 more vertices actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5? Sorry. Is it 5? Well, there's one in the middle. I'm just doing it, but yeah, there's 5. But it's a lot more around the whole 3D object. So I'm just looking at a 2D plane of the 3D object, but yeah. So let's just put that up to 4, 4, 4, right? It's pretty complex now. We can do a lot of stuff with it. Beautiful. Just because of my OCD, I'm gonna make this 300 by 300 by 300. I like perfect cubes. Beautiful. That's not a perfect cube. Why is that not a perfect cube? Huh. I'm having a very odd epiphany at the moment. But we're gonna ignore it and we're gonna keep going because apparently I wanted a perfect cube and I didn't get it. Who knows, but whatever. So here we have this option here, editable poly. That's what you'll be using most of the time in your early modeling careers. Um, just click that. Now it's an editable poly. What's the difference? If I click on it, see it's blue? It's unselected. It's a little bit weird. I don't know why, but apparently if it's blue, it's unselected in 3ds Max, and you click it again, it's selected. I don't know. It's weird. I wish they changed that by this mean unselected and this mean selected. That's just how, usually everything works, but whatever. We'll forgive them for that. And now you'll see what I was talking about before. You see these vertices, right? Now because your object is an editable poly, you can basically pull them out of shape. And I'd like you to focus on the perspective view to see what's happening. You see this? You're now editing your poly. Now before we go into anything, I'll quickly show you a tool called here, Orbit Subobject. Very useful tool. This way, you can orbit your object, and my mistake from the last video for not telling this, but clicking my middle mouse button, I'm clicking my middle mouse button, I can look around, I can, basically move from object to object if I want there's a lot of objects, but that's by holding middle mouse button, but you can't rotate. If you hold shift and middle mouse button, you only go on a singular axis, right? Look, you can see my cursor going up and down, but I'm not going up and down, going only side to side. But if I go up and down from the start, I go up and down. That's by holding shift and middle mouse button. And if you just hold middle mouse button, you have full free control. But you can't look around your orbit, right? If you come to this orbit object, I have no quick shortcut key to this. You go around your object, right? And now, right now, it's only going on my object, right? Why? Because I'm in an editable poly. By the way, just before we move forward, once you're in an object, so object mode, you can't just click it again to, go away. Press W quickly to go into your moving tool, and you'll be able to from it. Anyway, why was I only just going around the object? Because I'm currently selected the object. I'm in the editable poly. I'm editing my subject object, right? I click away from it. I do this. My object is still selected, right? So it's still orbiting around it. But now I'm gonna click away from it and see what happens. I'm not orbiting around the object anymore. It's very important because you can lose track of your objects very easily if you like, oh, I'm in a hurry, I want to go subject to, and then poof, everything gets. It's happened to me before. It's very frustrating. It's hard to get you can just probably press P to get your screen back. Sorry, your view back, but it can be very frustrating when you're trying to get something done, something very rudimental done quickly, and yeah. So always make sure to correct that. Obviously this is very helpful as well. If we quickly make another box real quick, there we go. So we have the box selected, right? So object is gonna rotate around that box, which is very good. We click this, it's gonna rotate around the box, right? Okay, that out of the way. Let's delete this box. I'm gonna go back into the modify list, edit for poly, and continue. Now I select this vertex, yes. Let me give you a better angle with the object mode right there. And also, yes, as you can see, it's not going around the box, it's going around the vertex I selected. Another great thing 3ds Max has done, if I do this, I'll go around my box, that I deselected the vertex, but if I select the vertex, I'll go around the vertex. And a beautiful, beautiful, I think very underrated thing that 3ds Max does sometimes, but yes. So yeah, you can see, I selected this vertex, right? It seems like, oh, I selected, sorry, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but from the front view, right? This is the good thing about having perspective view. You can see some of your errors sometimes. So here we go. Like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get this whole line of uh, vertices out and change my poly. Uh-oh, I only got that one vertex. Why is that? Because you only selected that vertex in your three-dimensional view, right? You only selected, you're not selecting everything back. To do that, you do the whole select, and as you can see in the perspective view, all four of them got selected, and boom, all four of them moved at the same time. This is very key to remember later on when you're doing not massive, but you're doing complex characters. Say you're making a human or an alien, and you want to make their arm. You're not just gonna select one vertex and move it, right? You want to select, when you've made a body, you want to select all the vertices on the body and try moving it out or start extruding it out, which we'll go into later. But yes, there we have it. That's a little bit of vertex modeling for you. You can also just select like a whole box, move it out, right? It's very, very easily, like before I was talking about how you can make arms, yeah. So you could just come here, drag this out. Oh, sorry. You can do this. You can do this. And you can see how I'm trying to like make a body right now. Sorry. Let's do this and just do that. Right? It's kind of you can see where this can be and make it into a body, right? The next thing I want to do before talking to you about extruding is different ways you can select things in 3ds Max. So you may be thinking, I don't want to select a vertex, right? I want to select something else. Beautiful. You go to the edge right here. Under the selection menu, you see this edge, like a triangle. One guess what it lets you do? You guess? Nice. Let's just select edges. Same principle as selecting vertices, right? I'm going on the top here. Uh, if I just do this, only one vertex edge will be moved. If I select the whole thing, all of them will be moved. Simple process. And this is practically the same as doing vertices if you're trying to move, this block, but obviously a vertex can select, you can move it like that, as you saw before. This over here is the you can do border if you want, but these are my main ones: vertex, edge, and polygon. Now it says polygon, but I like to think of it as faces. What's faces? There you go, faces, right? So if we quickly go into the left viewport, I want to get this, I want to move this. There you go, I'm moving that, right? So you're moving the face of that object. You know how there's vertices, edges, and faces of a square. There you go. Simple. You click on it again, you deselect it. Simple as that. This is the whole thing. By the way, we're gonna stay in there. Now I'm gonna talk to you about extruding. Now, before, as I said, just gonna quickly get this back in a little bit. Obviously, I'm using this slider now. You can use the x-axis to be a little bit more accurate if you want to just use it on move it on the x-axis. I'm just gonna try and fix this a little bit. There you go. Okay, there we go. Back in, right? Okay. I want to make arms. Simple enough. You if I hold up, let me just do something. Just gonna move this back a little bit because sorry. There you go. See how that made that guy thinner? Well, if you're trying to make a guy, but I don't want to make a guy too soon for that. But I'm just gonna quickly give a short example of how to make maybe an arm, right? So to make an arm, you won't select the whole vertex row, right? Because that'd be weird. So you go over here on your left viewport, press that polygon for the faces. You hold Control. There you go. Now you can, try and get an arm out. And I'm gonna use extrude right on the edit polygons. Extrude. And there you go. You can see how you can start making an arm out of this. Right? Do the same over here, but you can just go into that later. How you can add different modifiers to replicate this, and you don't want to you want to have everything symmetry, right? We'll go into that later. Hint, hint. What the modifier is called? It's called symmetry. Anyway, basic of how you can extrude, and beveling, very similar. Um, I'll just choose this over here, right? Just to show you the example. So extrude, you'll see this little symbol. It's extruding. Go up or down. In goes in, up goes out. Depends on what settings you have, but that's the ones I have. Bevel, you pull out, and then after you let it go, kind of scales it, right? So it could be used for different depths or different shapes of the arm. And then I go again, wanna go short, again, wanna go big. You get the idea. Inset, I'm gonna change this a little bit just so you can see it. Inset lets you make, a smaller face inside the face, right? And then you can extrude it out. Get the idea? Nice. Cool. Those are quite the basics ones. Bridge, outline, flip we'll go into later. And then before we end this lesson, I quickly want to talk about the settings down here. Zoom all. What does zoom all do? Hold up. Sorry, let me get let me get edit the poly. Cool, cool. Zoom all. Cool. It kind of zooms every single zoom port, right? I held down my left key and it's zooming every single viewport, right? Zoom extents means, say, I'm gonna, because you can't deselect this, I'm holding, I press W, deselect it, right? So I'm in perspective view. I do zoom extents, it kind of resets it, right? So I'll reset it, reset, and reset. It's not resetting the viewport, but it is resetting the viewport in correlation with your object or your objects, right? Zoom XX all does what? Okay, so if we do this, do this, do this, I'm just pressing the one problem. Zoom XX all does all of them at the same time, right? Pan view, same as during the middle button trick I told you before, just in the viewport. Orbit we've discussed, and then this one here, maximize viewport. Pretty obvious what it does is maximize that viewport. You want to get out of it, you just click it again, you're out of it. Very basic. That one went on for a little bit longer, I think, but we'll end this right here. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.